All right. So, sorry about that. That's 8 minutes late. So, YouTube kind of, I don't want to say this in a bad way, but, YouTube sort of forced this whole new back end on us. And, I mean, it's fine. It's just like trying to relearn how to do everything. And so, when I stream, I have sort of there's this whole streaming interface on the YouTube website. And one of the things that they did that, well, I just figured it out, that I would actually say is an improvement is that now, like, I start the stream in OBS, and before, once I started the stream, that was it. I was live on the internet. And now what they did is that I start the stream, and then I can see the stream in my little web interface, but you guys can't see it until I actually click a button on the web interface that says "Go Live." And I just didn't see that. But so I mean, that's part of this whole new thing that they did. But I would say that it's good. I just didn't know. So because it's nice to have that one little extra fail safe before you actually go live. So anyway, now I know for next time. So yeah. As I said in the description, and I guess maybe I said it briefly on Twitter, sort of my idea for this stream tonight was, like when I came home from the last show, I did like a pickups video, and I don't know. I mean, pickups videos are cool, I guess. I mean, to me, it feels like pickups videos are kind of like 2012 or something, but whatever. But I just figured, well, what if instead of doing a pickups video, I did sort of like a live stream, because then we can play some of the games that I picked up instead of just me saying, "Oh, hey, I got this" or whatever. So that's what we're gonna do, because I really only bought, Genesis games, as you'll see mostly. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show the stuff that I got that's either not a game that's just game related, or isn't a Genesis game, and that will give people a chance to kind of just file in, and and then we'll start actually playing games. So anyway, I'll just talk about the convention just really briefly. It was a lot of fun. Corey and Try/Mark were there, so that for me, that alone makes it worth going anywhere just to get to hang out with those guys. I consider Corey to be a really good friend, so to get to hang out with him in person is really cool. And then obviously getting to meet viewers of the show is really awesome. So that's the only time in my life I have somebody ever come up to me and, hey, I love your show. Like, that doesn't happen in real life, because why would it? But so that was very cool. But now that I went to two conventions this month, and it was definitely educational, and in some ways it did kind of reinforce my sort of belief about why I really wasn't going to conventions. So I know I mentioned on a stream at one point that I felt like I was going to go to a convention and I was going to go do a panel discussion, and like nobody was going to show up, and that's kind of what happened both times. Not literally nobody, but sometimes I know some of you guys are fans of the show, and I really appreciate that. And so I know you're not like trying to just blow sunshine up my butt, or however the saying is, but at the same time, I felt like I had a really good handle on sort of what my show was and what it was about. And I've always said that the star of the show is the show, or the star of the show is the video games and the consoles, and not me. And that's part of it, but it also seems to kind of be the case now. I mean, obviously it's a small sample size. I've only gone to two shows, but I kind of got the feeling at both of these shows that maybe this whole thing is sort of past its prime. Not talking about me, I mean just sort of this whole YouTube people going to shows thing. Sorry, my eyes are like dry, because like I had low expectations as far as people coming to hear me talk, just because I don't know. I mean, if I wasn't me, I don't know why I would go to a Q&A session with me. Like, I don't know what people want to ask me, so like I get that. But what was shocking to me is just seeing that I felt like in general, like the panel discussions were just not getting a lot of turnout. Like obviously I went, Corey and Try had a panel discussion, and that was right before mine. And I don't remember what I said to myself as I walked in the room, but I was just like, like, where is everybody? I mean, this is freaking my life in gaming, like there were some people in there, don't get me wrong, but I was just, I've seen like panel discussions on YouTube with like, GameSack, or I think even maybe with Corey and Try before, where um I felt like there was more turnout, and it just makes me wonder if maybe sort of the whole, the popularity of people going to these shows to see YouTube guys or whatever, or girls, is maybe kind of past its prime. So, uh, especially like, because it's funny, I told Corey about what happened at the last con, and so he was saying, "Oh, this one will be better. This one will be better." And I guess it was a better convention. I mean, it was in a convention center, and it was a little bit bigger, but overall, I would say that, still the number of people that I met, I would say, was the same about it at both of them. And when I say people, I mean viewers. So yeah, I don't really know. I'm not. I don't. Just to make it clear, I'm not complaining, and I'm not disappointed at all. I mean, I had such a good time, at the first convention, hanging out with Smoke Monster, who's in the chat, and hanging out with Bob, from Retro RGB, who was also at this convention. So I got to see Bob twice. And then at this one, I got to meet Derek. I think Derek Alexander, I think is his last name, that stopped skeletons from fighting guy. He was pretty cool. This guy, Game Dave, I don't know if you guys watch Game Dave's show. He's a good friend of Corey and Try, and he was there, and he's just a super cool guy. I met Jay from the Game Chasers. I'm going to be very honest and say I don't watch the Game Chasers. Not because I have a problem with it. I just don't watch their show. He was cool. That guy, Lon.tv, Lon Seidman, he was there. He was cool. I don't know. I feel like I'm forgetting somebody, but like I didn't meet anybody that wasn't cool. So like everybody was cool, and it was awesome. And then he wasn't there as a they call us guests, but you guys are the guests. To me, we're the exhibits. But Pete Scarrett was there. I watched Pete's show. Pete's channel is not very big, but I like it a lot. He does the Unsealed. He was just there as a visitor, although in the past he's worked there. And I always wanted to meet him in person, so that was pretty awesome. So overall, I had a great time. It was just, I had an idea in my head of what I guess had finally convinced myself it was going to be like, and it really kind of wasn't like that, I guess. So, which is fine. I don't regret going to either one of them. I had a great time. So, that being said, I guess that's enough sort of BSing with that. Oh, I guess I will say, yeah, I did. So I did 2 panels at this one. I mean, I feel like I've said this enough times, but I'll just say it again. That the one panel that I did was a live magazine read through with Corey, and I feel like I already said this in the stream, but I'll just say it again in a previous stream. We recorded it, and I'm going to edit it and sort of add gameplay footage, like the same way I would edit a normal magazine read through. It's just this one was sort of live in front of an audience, and Corey was there. And I've already started editing it. I just need to record all the gameplay footage and slip that in there. And then I'm going to go ahead and upload it on the main channel, as I haven't done a magazine read through in a while. So it turned out pretty good, I would say. I haven't. Oh, hey, Peter's here. What's up, man? Yeah, so I got to meet Peter, which was awesome. So since Peter's here, I just want to say now, by far the most stuff that I brought home was because Peter brought me 2 huge bags of video games that he had put a post up on Twitter. I don't know, Pete, like a couple weeks ago maybe, that he had all these games he was going to literally throw away, because a lot of them were sports games and whatnot that basically nobody will take. Like you can't trade them in anywhere, and from what he was saying, it seems like maybe you can't even take them to a thrift store anymore. Like maybe they don't want them either. But for me, if I'm doing a magazine read through, even if it's a sports game, I still need to record it, and if it's a cartridge game, then that's easy because I have EverDrives. But if it's a disc-based game, then I need the disc. And so he brought me all these games, and so now I have them. So that's nice. So thanks, Peter. And I was able to get everything home without a problem. I stuffed a lot of it in my luggage, and then Peter gave me a backpack. It was like a Game Boy Color backpack that was pretty good, that some of the games were in, and I was able to stuff more games in there. and I checked it, and everything made it home just fine. So anyway, so I'm just gonna go ahead and get started with some of the stuff I picked up. I think it's all very interesting, and some of it has cool stories, and some of it maybe not so much. What I actually bought the most of in terms of numbers are magazines. And actually, let me just scroll up to the chat just a little bit because the chat's flying by. The Turbo Duo. It was great meeting you at the show. Yeah, those are cool guys. The Turbo Duo. They're doing a TurboGrafx centric podcast that I'm looking forward to checking out. I'm always looking for new podcasts to listen to, as I told them. So yeah, it was awesome to meet both of you guys. People were just telling each other where they lived. Yeah, Josh is saying not all cons are created equal. Yeah, I mean, I get that, and I don't, I said I saw like I saw a GameSack panel on YouTube where like the whole room was completely full. It was like standing room only, but I don't want to compare myself to GameSack. So again, like I said, I want to make it clear again. I'm not complaining. I'm not disappointed. It was really actually what I expected it to be. I think I just had a lot of people trying to tell me that somehow it was going to be more, and I think I kind of knew it was going to end up being the way it was. So yeah. It just seems like a lot of people are just saying hi. So I mean, hi back to everybody. Nobody seems to have like a question or anything like that. So I don't want to waste everybody's time. Okay, so as I said, the thing I bought the most of was magazines, and I was actually kind of worried about how I was going to get all these magazines home because I just kept buying more and more. There was a lot of really good deals on magazines. Because you go on eBay and the prices are really going up and up on magazines. Like you can easily pay $15 or $20 per issue, which is it's overpriced. So hold on, I gotta grab them all here. Oh, I put them all in like a one of these magazine thingies. ACAV31 says, "Do you think you'll go to another convention?" I mean, yeah, and that's what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to say like, oh, I don't want to go to these anymore. Well, first of all, I'm going to another one in December that's just here in Sacramento. But, I told Dave, the organizer of AVGC, and I told Lance, one of the organizers of Retro World, that I will be happy to come back anytime. And it really is the truth. It's going to those conventions cost me quite a bit of money out of sort of the show's budget. But to get to meet you guys and to get to hang out with other YouTube people who I normally don't get to meet, it's 100% worth it. So I think I've kind of lightened my attitude on going to conventions, and then now I'll go as long as it's not too expensive. Like going to a convention in a different country or something would be different. But all right, anyway, quite a few magazines here, so we're gonna go through them just really quickly, and then people are probably gonna ask about using these for Let's Reads, and yeah, that's definitely possible that might happen. So I got, I think, 3 issues of Video Games and Computer Entertainment. These were $4 a piece, by the way. They look nice because they're all in bags now, but some of them aren't in such great shape. So here's the June 1990 issue. So you got Total Recall on the cover. And, these were stapled together instead of being sort of bound together with glue. And so they tend to rip around the staples, and that happened here. But I mean, other than that, these are in good condition. It's really just the it's really just the staple, the covers near the staples that really took the brunt of the damage. Here's April 1992 with I guess that's probably Super Adventure Island. Yeah, Super Adventure Island on the cover. So that's awesome. Edward's here. Hi, Chris. Great meeting you at the show. Hopefully you'll visit Connecticut again. I hope so too. I enjoyed it there. Oh, well, here, I'll show one more here real quick. I got May 1993 Video Games Computer Entertainment with Star Fox on the cover. God dang it. So I think I mentioned that when I went to AVGC, I had Yingling for the first time, because I know some of you guys were kind of after me to make sure I tried Yingling, so I did, and it was good. And then this time in Hartford, I had Shake Shack for the first time, which I think I conflate Shake Shack with Steak and Shake. I was really shocked at how nice Shake Shack is. I told my wife to compare it. I said it would be like if Whole Foods bought In-N-Out Burger, you would get Shake Shack. Really, really good. Someone, Hot Sauce Show, says, what's Yingling? It's beer. It's kind of beer. Like a Yingling is a brewery. I got one issue of Video Games, the ultimate. What does that say? The Ultimate Gaming Magazine. And this you can see over here. This says formerly Video Games and Computer Entertainment. So in a way, I got 4 issues of Video Games and Computer Entertainment. They changed the name, I guess, to sort of distance themselves from home computers, and they do still cover PC games, but maybe they were just trying to appeal more to home console gamers. This one I could swear I already have. I'm just not sure. Game Player's Sega Genesis Strategy Guide. I think this one was like $1. So yeah, I got that. When is this from? Oh, it says display until October 8th, 1991. And you got Spider-Man on the cover there and Sonic, so that kind of tells you when that was from. Nev says, "Have you started working on the Nintendo episode yet?" Yes, it's still in the writing phase. This one, I'd never heard of this. I showed it to a couple people at the show, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I've seen that." I'm like, well, okay, I haven't. Game Pro's 16-bit video gaming, and it's got Hulk Hogan on the cover. Again, this was $4, and I mean, it's like an issue of Game Pro, except it's just nothing but coverage of 16-bit games. So I guess for people like my friend Anthony used to complain about how when he would buy these gaming magazines back in the day, he hated it that they still covered Nintendo games, just because he didn't have a Nintendo anymore, because he had kind of gone all in on 16-bit games, and so he didn't want to have to read about that. So maybe this was for guys like Anthony. And then I got hey Rick, what's up, man? Big Hulk. Yeah, I mean, anybody our age was a big Hulk Hogan fan. I mean, come on. Michael's Workshop says, whatever happened to Anthony? Well, Anthony was the guy I did the podcast with, or I was a guest on his podcast several times. Now he's doing like a podcast or a YouTube show about VR gaming, which I don't know anything about. So these next 2 magazines, these are that guy. Yeah, I forgot the name of his show. It's like the VR Roundtable or something. Oh, did it? Then I don't know. I really couldn't say. I haven't talked to him in a while, unfortunately. So I got 2 issues of GamePro here, and it was a viewer that came up to my table and just said, "Hey, I'm a huge fan of your show," and shook my hand, I think, and said I wanted to give these to you, and handed me these 2 magazines. I'm not even sure if I got his name. I mean, kind of in a way, the whole weekend's a blur, but so I feel bad if he did tell me his name and I don't remember, but he didn't give me like a note or a card or anything with it. So I mean, whoever this was, I told him thank you several times when he gave these to me, and so I'll just say thank you again. This guy Dominic Provenzano says, "You're inspiring me to maybe create my own Nintendo Power Let's Read channel. Do I have your blessing?" Absolutely. I did not invent the idea of reading a magazine, on video and uploading it to YouTube. So you don't need my blessing. So I mean, I guess you have it, but you're free to do it. And I've told people this before. Like I'm always interested to see other people's takes on the genre, if you want to call it that. So yeah, please go for it. And if you do, send me a link. So the 2 issues of GamePro I got here, Volume 6, Number 1. This was January of, I believe, 1994. It's got Mortal Kombat 2 on the cover, but I believe it's talking about the arcade version of Mortal Kombat 2. But and it's a real thick magazine. It's funny for a January issue. It's still pretty thick. Let's Read Playboy. I mean, that might be cool, but I don't think that would fly on YouTube. Maybe you could do that over on Twitch or something. And the other GamePro that I got from the guy, kind of, maybe coincidentally, maybe not, I don't know, also has Mortal Kombat 2 on the cover. But this is the May 1994 issue. So again, whoever you are, whoever you were, thanks, man. I appreciate it, and I'm glad you like the show. And then this next one, so I guess this is also sort of a GamePro offshoot. And so they had their I wanted to say segment, but it's not a segment of a show. Like the regular feature in GamePro called SWAT, which I don't actually even remember what SWAT stands for, but it was like their tips and tricks section. And at some point they decided to make a separate magazine called SWAT Pro, and I don't know how long this even lasted. I guess you could look on like Retro Mags or something. This is from January of 1995. You see Urban Strike on the cover there, and then down below you have Blackthorn and Contra Hardcore. So yeah, that one's pretty cool. And then I was pretty excited to get these next three. One of these I've used scans out of this magazine before for the main show, but I don't think I'd ever seen them for sale anywhere. So just real quick, it's Game Informer, but it's like classic issues of Game Informer. So here's January, February, 1992. Sorry, I'm trying to. There's not really. Oh, there we go. All right, no glare. Kind of weird that Faceball would be one of the cover stories there, but then you got Lemmings, so that's pretty cool. And then I got. When's this one from? Summer issue 1992. And I'm not really sure what the cover story is supposed to be, but there you go. Yeah. And then last one is March, April 1993. And this is about the last game you'd ever think would be a cover story anywhere, Bubsy. But, whatever. But, yeah, I've never really seen Game Informer magazines for sale anywhere. And again, those were $4 each. Now, I will say this, kind of a bummer. So this guy he had a whole box of these magazines like under a table at his booth, and it just said $4 each. And I pulled out 11, and I said, "Hey, can I, I like I said in my pickups video recently, like I don't really like to haggle, for numerous reasons, but I had 11 magazines, and I was like, hey, is there any chance of getting a little bit of a deal, bundle discount?" And he sat there and he looked through everything I had, and there was a 1991 Toys R Us catalog in there, and he said, "I'll give you a deal if you don't take this one," which was a bummer because I would have said, okay, never mind, I'll pay full price, which would have been $44 for all of them. But it turns out he didn't want to sell that at all. And I guess it just accidentally ended up in the pile. Sorry, that was probably loud. So it was a bummer not to get that. But if it's really because it was his personal copy and he didn't want to sell it, then I guess I'm glad I didn't take it, because that would have been kind of a crappy thing to do. And then just sort of as a aside to that, I went to this other booth where the guy had a similar box, mostly full of old Nintendo Powers, although not really that old, like newer than I would want. And they were like $10 a piece. And I asked him, I said, "Hey, do you have anything older in this box?" And he said, "Well, there's like some old toy catalogs in there." I was like, "Oh, cool," And so I started flipping to the back, and there were things they were like toy catalogs that I think they would have been sent to like stores, like not for normal people, but for like, the store buyers who were going to be like, planning out what they were going to be buying for the season. And there was this really cool, you can't call it a catalog. It was for the Power Glove. And it was on this really thick cardstock. It was something that sort of folded out 4 times and looked really awesome. And like I said, it's the kind of thing that, like Mothboy saying, it's like promotional material. It's the kind of thing that would have been sent, to like people who were in charge of making purchasing decisions for these various retailers. And I said, well, and it was just in the box. Like it wasn't in like a sleeve. It was just in the box. I'm like, oh, well, is this $10 too? And he's like, no, that's $125. And I went like, ooh, I just like put it back. And I just told him, I said, I don't blame you for asking that, but that's, too rich for my blood. But the only thing I thought was funny about that was like, dude, put that in a bag or something. Like it was just in there like loose. So I thought that was pretty crazy. Okay. So the last 5 things here are all related, and this is definitely something I want to do a Let's Read with, and I'd probably just do all 5 together. And these are electronics boutique catalogs, so they're not terribly thick. And this one I have a scan of on my computer, and I've definitely used it on the show. And that is the August 92 catalog. And look, you can see the Genesis and the Super Nintendo on the cover. I also got an email just now. I also got the September 1992 issue with Sonic 2 on the cover. Sorry, it's over here. Because of course Sonic Tuesday was coming up. I think that was in November of 92. Then I got the following month, October of 92. That one's pretty awesome. So these like half of these are like home console, games, and then the other half is like home computer stuff. Like it's like computer games, computer software, peripherals, etc. This one is August of 1993, and that one stuck out to me because it's got Mortal Kombat on the cover. So it's like getting people ready for Mortal Monday, which I want to say was September 13th, 1993, but I'm going off my memory. We got $5.16 from Jerry Cox. Thanks, Jerry. I appreciate that, man. And thanks for the good work. Well, thanks for hanging out. And then the last one I got here, it just says January. I believe it's January 1994. You see, it's got NHL 94 on the cover. What is this? One of these SG Pro pads, SG Program pad, and Aladdin for the Super Nintendo. So that's it for the magazines, but that's a lot of pretty cool stuff there, I think. Hey, Michael, what's up, man? And so we don't have really too much more to talk about until we're just going to get into the Genesis games. But so, obviously I spent a lot of time walking around the show floor with Corey. It's funny, you'd get there and you'd walk around and look for stuff to buy, and you'd buy some stuff. And then you go hang out at your table for a while. Then you're like, you get like the itch, right? Because you're in this huge room with like all this stuff for sale, and you're like, oh, let's go back out there. And then you go buy stuff that you didn't buy the first time, because every time you go out there, I don't want to say your standards get a little bit lower, but it's like the first time I went out there, you're looking for like the really choice stuff, like the stuff you came there to look for. And then with each subsequent, loop you make around the place, you end up picking up stuff that you wouldn't have picked up the first time, just because it's like, wow, I already got the things I wanted. So let's see what else is out there. So Corey was looking for PS1 memory cards because he had this whole idea that he wants to get PS1 memory cards of different colors, like the first party memory cards, and then have a spreadsheet on his computer of what's on each one. So that like if he needs to record some gameplay footage for his show, I suppose, he can say, okay, I need to find my save file for like Final Fantasy VII or whatever, and he can look on the spreadsheet and be like, oh, that's on the blue one or whatever, and then that's how he can find it, which I thought was a pretty good idea. And so I just kind of followed him around, and like anytime, he was going up to all the vendors and being like, hey, do you have any PS1 memory cards? And any that he didn't pick up, obviously I gave him, first crack because this was his thing. But, anything that was a color that he already had or something, he didn't want it. And so if he didn't want one, I would grab it because I'm like, hey, that sounds like a good idea. And so I got one red one, which I definitely don't have a red one. And I don't think I have we want to call that like translucent blue. Doesn't look that blue on camera, but well, there you go. It's blue. So, so I thought that was pretty cool anyway. And it was funny how much the price varied on these depending on who you talk to. Like, I think the highest number we were ever quoted was $10, and the lowest was $2. And I think I paid $2 for one of these and $5 for the other one. And yeah, Jerry, it's Corey from My Life in Gaming. And then I don't remember how much I paid for this. Not much. I don't know. Like it was probably like $5 or $6. I just didn't happen to have this one. You guys know I like demo discs. So I got this Crystal Dynamics Sample This 3DO demo disc. I think I only have one 3DO demo disc, and it's a Panasonic demo disc. So it's kind of cool to have Crystal Dynamics, because they put out a lot of good games on the 3DO. And there you can see on the back that you have Gex, Samurai Showdown, Star Control 2. I'm not sure what Cyber Clash is. Off-World Interceptor, Total Eclipse, The Horde, and Patank. And a lot of those games ended up getting ported to the PlayStation. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And of course, I mean, Star Control 2 is probably one of my all-time favorite games, although playing it on the PC is the way to go there. And then lastly, before we get into what's he saying? I hope you play the wonderful cedar planked Genesis game you found after the magazine. Oh, I understand what you're talking about. Yeah. Oh, that's Brian. All right, yeah. So I didn't know what your name was on YouTube, but yeah, that's I guess B Suits there is Brian. He hung out a good portion of the day on Sunday. Really nice guy. It was really nice hanging out with you, Brian. Okay, So this last game, this game caught my eye. There was this one guy there named Carlson. I don't know. That's like, everybody, whether it was us or vendors, had signs over their booths just saying who they were. And this guy, it just said Carlson, and he was just he only sold import stuff, and it was the vast majority of it was Famicom, Super Famicom, N64 stuff, and then he also had a few other little things, like there were some PC Engine games, Saturn games, and I got $4.99 from Dominic Provenzano. Thanks, man. Thanks for the quality entertainment and for clearly being a great dude. Well, I don't know about that. I try to be okay. Appreciation all the way from Staten Island, New York. Hey, I flew over your house then. I was looking at. So this is kind of embarrassing, but this isn't the embarrassing part. I've never been to New York City. I'm not embarrassed about that. But we were flying. I'm on the plane. I don't know what I was doing. I was playing with my phone, or like I play backgammon on my phone or whatever. But or I might have been watching a movie on my computer. I think I mentioned in the last one that I watched Caddyshack on the flight to New Jersey, and I watched it 2 more times this week. And I watched it once on the way there and then once on the way back. You never get tired of Caddyshack. But I looked up and looked out the window, and there was a big city, and I was like, oh, I think that might be Philadelphia. I'm like looking at it, and like, oh, I think that's Philly. And it wasn't Philly. It was New York City. But it's like, I've never been there, so I guess I didn't right away recognize that it was New York City. But then we were flying over Long Island, and all I could think is like, oh, Bithead is somewhere down there. Bithead, of course, was a no-show at the show again, which he's a busy guy, but I was hoping he would surprise us and show up, because it would have made my weekend, it would have made Corey's weekend too, because we're both big Bithead fans. Anyway, so this Carlson guy, who he's going to come up again later in the show, but so he had some Famicom imports. Well, I mean, any Famicom game is an import, right? He had some Famicom games, and he had this one game. Well, I'll just show it. So it's Salamander, which is just it as Life Force for the Famicom. And I was looking at it because it's it's like this translucent blue green. I was like, oh, this looks pretty cool. And Corey was like laughing. He's like, oh man, you got to go ask Mark, or he calls him Try. You got to go ask Try about that. Go ask him about that game. He'll he loves, like, he really wants a copy of this game, but he hasn't ever bought it. And he's like, oh, you got to go ask him about it. And so I did, and and it's how Try is. He's like, ooh, that's awesome. And which was pretty funny. But then so it was like Sunday, and like everybody was closing, and we were talking to Carlson, just BSing with him, and he said, hey, if there's anything here you guys want, these guys, they bring all these games out to these shows, and like they just want, at the end of the day on Sunday, if they can lighten their load a little bit, they're going to do it. And he says, hey, I'll make you guys a deal, on anything you want. And so he had 2 copies of Salamander, and one of them was 30 and one of them was 35, because this is the $35 one. It's a little bit nicer. And I said, well, what would you do for a copy of Salamander? And he just said, I'll give you $10 off of either one. And so I bought the nicer one. Now, he told me, I didn't know this, he said this game is a little bit different than Life Force. Like, I guess it has multiple endings, he said. So I don't know. I haven't this one I haven't played yet. I've always just played the American version of Life Force, but I mostly bought it because it just looks really cool. But I do have a Famicom to Nintendo adapter, like a honeybee converter. So I'm definitely going to check this one out just to see what the differences are. I got a $2 donation from Casual Play, who says, great Dreamcast video. Already watched it 3 times. That would be 3 hours and 45 minutes. So that's pretty awesome. So thanks, KP. And then the math guy is here, who is also from Staten Island. You and the other guy should get together. You could have like viewing parties when I live stream. I'm kidding. Yeah, anyway, so I had this, and I had this idea. I was going to walk past Mark and just be like, oh, my face is so itchy. I don't know what happened, but I ended up just showing it to him. And of course he's like, ooh, I don't know. I love both of those guys. Okay. So, then we get, to the Genesis games here. And what's going on here? What's Peter saying? Oh, yeah, about the 3DO being $700. Yeah, that's too much money. Okay, so I got 5 Genesis games here, and one of them we're not going to play. So we did this read through. It was Electronic Gaming Monthly, July 1992. And so, I went through the whole magazine and took notes and wrote down every game. and then I played almost every game. I didn't play any of the Lynx games that were in there, but I think everything else, I turned the game on and maybe played a single level or something, just so I would be able to say something about the game when we did the read through. But whenever I do any video for my show, it gets me into trouble in that I find like games that I want to get. And, even more so when immediately after doing all of this research, I'm going to go to a game convention where all of these games are available for sale. So I ended up picking up a couple of games. Two of these games I picked up specifically because of that read through, because they were games that I thought were cool. And so I grabbed them. And yeah. And so I should say this, I guess, too. So, there were three games I was looking for. Like before I even got there, in my head, I'm like, these are the three games I want to find, and they were all Genesis games. And I found two of them. The third one is still sort of my white whale. So the game we're not going to play is this game CyberCop, and CyberCop here was published by Virgin Games, but it was actually made by Core. And I think it's known on computers and in Europe as Corporation. And if you just fire it up, it just seems like it's like this first person shooter, but that's really not what it is. The game is quite a bit more complicated than that. That doesn't mean that it's like a really awesome game, but it's one of those games that people think really sucks. And so I got this for $10. And I mean, it's complete, and it's in the manual's a little bit wrinkled over here or whatever, but whatever, $10 to me at this point, $10 for any Genesis game that isn't a sports game is not bad. Just because prices have kind of gone crazy. So we're not going to play this game just because this is more of a sink your teeth into it kind of game that I still don't even really know much about. So that's not going to make for a good live stream. But we can play the next one. So I'm going to show it, and then I will go ahead and switch the view. If anybody cares, we are streaming with the Mega SG, not with a real to me, a Mega SG is almost a real Genesis, but just full disclosure, because you're going to see the menus and you're going to know, hey, it's not a real Genesis. But I really like the Mega SG. I had a lot of fun. I had it hooked up in my room. The whole house is my room, but up in, sort of my home office where my editing computer is. And I had it hooked up to I have like a 34-inch monitor up there for doing video editing. And that's pretty cool having the Mega SG hooked up to that. So this is a game I've actually been looking for a really long time. And you have to understand when I say, I'm not talking about like really actively looking for a game. It's just, in my head, I'm just like, oh, it'd be nice to get this game. Every once in a while, maybe I'll hop onto eBay and look for some of these games. Sometimes I find them, sometimes I don't, or I don't want to pay the price, or I don't find a good one. But this was one of those games. And that's Crewball. And when people think of Electronic Arts, even on the Genesis, they really think of mostly of like EA Sports and of marquee franchises like Road Rash. But Electronic Arts had so many interesting games, especially in the earlier days of the Genesis. I don't actually know what this says. Copyright 1992. I don't know if that actually means it came out in 92 or not. But yeah, so I've been looking for this one for a while. It's not completely complete in that this game originally came with a poster, and that's not here. But the manual's in real nice condition, as is the cartridge, as is the case. So, and it was $30. Crewball's not a cheap game. I'm sure if I kept an eye out on eBay, I could have found it maybe a little bit cheaper. I don't really know. I saw it there. I couldn't find a nice copy at AVGC, and so when I saw this one, I grabbed it. So we're gonna pop it in. I'm gonna switch the view over, and we're gonna play it. Hopefully, I do not get a copyright. I don't get into copyright trouble over this. I can't imagine that YouTube's automatic copyrighted material detection system. I don't think it would trip up on Crewball, but I don't know if Smoke Monster's still here or not, but he could tell you how much trouble you get in if you have copyrighted material on one of your regular uploads, the worst thing that could happen to you is that you might get, a copyright claim where they're going to take your ad revenue. But Smoke Monster was streaming an X-Files game. I want to say maybe it was the PS1 game. Well, he's still here, so he can say. And he got like a 30-day ban, I think, for that. Oh, 90-day. Jeez. Okay, X-Files demo for Genesis. Oh, wow. Because they're trying to stop people from doing things like streaming television or streaming movies. And so, I mean, I get it, but at the same time, he should have been able to appeal it and have the ban lifted, but he didn't. So he got a 90-day ban. So hopefully that doesn't happen to me right now, but I don't think that it will. So we're going to switch the view over to classic console stream. And then I don't know how we're going to do this. Wake up. I don't really want to have to... Well, what if I go like that? All right, I might have to turn the Mega SG off and on. All right, there we go. I had a problem when I turned the Mega SG off and on. It made the capture software angry. So, and that... Oh, that sounds kind of loud, but is it? I mean, I feel like it's too loud compared to my voice. All right. You think it's Bithead's birthday next week? I have no idea when. I don't know when Bithead's birthday is. I'm going to let it roll just because I think this little intro thing is kind of cool. Yeah, so the thing is, when if Bithead is in his shed playing records, really all that's probably going to happen is that the companies that own the rights to those songs are going to take his ad revenue, which I don't think he cares, because I don't think he makes that much in ad revenue compared to his Patreon. So, but if you do it in a live stream, that's when you can really get in trouble. So, okay. Hey, Michael, you haven't actually missed anything yet. This is the first game that I'm going to be... hey, there's Dr. Feelgood. This is the first game that we're streaming, so you made it here just in time. So I wanted to show you guys the music demo, but it doesn't let you. So, yeah, we'll play a little bit of this. I mean, it's really not, if I'm being honest, it's really not that great of a pinball game, but it's just, it's Motley Crue plus pinball, so how can you not want to play that? Who among us, well, I'm sure there's some of you, but, I remember when Motley Crue was popular, like Dr. Feelgood was like an awesome song. And so it's just cool because of that, I guess. I know, there's an Aerosmith game, isn't there? I forgot where. That's probably not something I really want, but yeah, I don't know. I've just, ever since I played this game for the first time, which was probably on an EverDrive, I've just always wanted it. But, I don't know if you can really tell just watching it, but, the pinball physics are like kind of okay, but not great. But, oh yeah, Revolution X, that's right. See you, Ryan. Thanks for stopping by. I guess I just like stuff like this because it's just kind of like kitschy, so yeah. It's funny, usually this game is, I think, not very hard. Like, you can really kind of keep a game going for a long time, but I guess maybe it's not quite as easy when you're trying to play and talk at the same time. So, oh, geez, yeah, see what happened there. And I will tell you, the two last games that we're going to play, I have 4 games to play here. The 2 games we're playing last are like the 2 heavy hitters. And they have a sort of an interesting story that goes along with them. And I don't know if Mothboy is still here. I kind of wanted to tell a story about Mothboy. I hope he doesn't mind. So, oh no! Oh man. Oh, okay. So, all right, Mothboy, don't. So I thought this was kind of funny. So Mothboy was hanging out with me, like, not with. Mothboy was at the show all day Saturday, and so he was hanging out at my table a lot, which is awesome. And then he came to he came to like the magazine read through, and afterwards, like he helped me carry my stuff back up to my room, which was cool. And then a bunch of us were going to go out to dinner, and so I told Mothboy, I said, hey, come to the lobby with me, and let's go out to dinner with some of these guys. And so we get down to the lobby, and everybody that's standing down there, they're all like YouTube people, like Jay was there, and oh, that's who I forgot. Shane and Adam from Rerez were the other guys that were there, who were also both very nice. And I forgot who else, but it was like all like people with YouTube shows. And so like, Mothboy is like, I could tell he kind of was a little bit, he's like, oh, so it's going to be like me and a bunch of YouTube people. Like, I guess maybe thinking that, he was going to be sort of like the odd man out or something, which I totally get because I would have felt the same way. But, then we get to the restaurant, and there were so many of us, we had to sit at 3 different tables. And like the table was like just me, Corey, and Mothboy. And like it turns out the two of them had stuff in common as far as their careers go. Like I guess they kind of worked at the same place and knew some of the same people. And so I just thought that was kind of funny because he was kind of hesitant to come with us, and then of course he ended up fitting right in and being able to have a long conversation with Corey. So I just thought that was pretty cool. Maybe that's not really that good of a story. I don't really know, but. I guess I just thought that was cool because, like I said, I would have felt the same way that Mothboy did, but it's cool that he nutted up and came with us. Yeah, I'm not going to become the world record holder in Crewball. Hey Rick, if you're at Target right now, look for Hot Wheels. I should collaborate with Sega Lord X. I mean, I don't know. I don't know Sega Lord X, so oh yeah, that's true. Mothboy got a photo with me this time, so that's good too. Since he forgot to do it last time. So I'm not going to play any more Crewball. I mean, you guys got to see it. That's good enough, right? And then the next game, I don't know if you guys really even want to play the next game or not. We don't have to. I'll just say that. Can I just exit out without actually having to? Like if I go like that, we'll see. I'm trying not to. I'm trying not to upset the system here. Well, I better just shut it off. I don't know what happens if you pull a cartridge out of a Mega SG when it's on, if it's not even using the cartridge. But I don't want to find out the hard way that I shouldn't have done that. All right, we'll play it a little bit, but we're not going to play it much, so don't anybody get upset. But we'll just check it out. So, oh, sorry, somebody had a question up there. Were you a hair metal guy, or did you welcome the grunge movement? I guess both. I mean, in the late 80s, I mean, I liked hair metal, I mean, who didn't? People can lie now and say that they didn't, but, hair metal was very popular back then, so somebody was listening to it. So I liked it, but I mean, grunge came about when I was in like high school, so I went all in on grunge. So, and then of course I thought that, hair metal was stupid, even though I liked it previously. Okay, so this was the other game that I bought because of the magazine read through, and you might be thinking once I show it to you. Well, here, let's go back like that. You might be thinking like, really, that you grabbed this, but I had to play like I don't know, like maybe 60 games or something. I don't know why Peter, it wouldn't. Oh, there we go. All right. It quarantined your comment for some reason. I don't really know why. So I had a bunch of games I had to play, and I ended up playing this game for like an hour, even though I knew I had to move on to other games just because I ended up having fun with it. And that is King Salmon, The Big Catch. And yeah, I don't know. I'd never played a fishing game before, really. I know there's a lot of fishing games out there, but I mean, I must have played a fishing game at some point. But this game was actually a lot of fun. So we'll play it just a little bit, just to give you guys sort of a sense of what the game is like. And then we'll move on. I don't want to waste people's time too long, playing a fishing game. So now I'm going to go ahead and switch the view back and run cartridge. So, oh, hey, Smoke Monster. One of the games that Pete gave me is Wheel of Fortune for the PS1. So I don't know. You can tell me if that's a good one. I also got Jeopardy for the PS1, so that's pretty awesome. But obviously, as soon as I saw that, I thought of you. All right. So, oh, you haven't played it. Well, we should play that for a live stream or something. Like, but you have to be on the live stream with me if we're gonna do that. Okay, so the whole setup with this game is it's like a fishing derby. So we're gonna look at today's conditions, and I mean that's not really the conditions. That's your conditions. You can actually like level up in this game and become like a better fisherman. And okay, now so we're gonna be in Vancouver Island, and it's saying that if you want to win this derby, you're gonna have to catch a 58-pound salmon, which seems pretty good. Seems pretty big. I was going to say conditions, low pressure system ahead. I don't know. What does it mean? Maybe it's going to rain or something. I have no idea. If you stream with Smoke Monster, you must use a colored lighting background. Well, obviously. The blue is sharp. Well, that's cool. I'm glad you guys like that. Yeah, I would definitely. I think I'd have to put some pink lights. I bought all those gels. So, hopefully that means I could maybe get a pink gel or something in honor of Smoke Monster. So it's doing that flashy thing, I think, just because of the way the screen is shrunk down a little bit. So this is sort of like the overhead view or whatever. You have to get your boat to where you think fish are going to be. And if you try to, like, go to an area where there's not going to be any fish, like, it won't let you. It'll say, oh, there's no fish over here. But anybody that's actually fished before knows that, if you go to, like, an inlet or something like this, or whatever you want to call this little cove, I guess would be a better word. Okay, we'll catch a big king here. Okay, well, super. So now I'm probably going to push the wrong button a few times just because I don't, you have to kind of get used to how to do this. So you can change your lure, the line depth, you can change the lure and the line and the depth of your line. And then the other two things don't really matter. So I don't know what happens if you say you want to change the line. Oh, that's the line length. So we don't really need to mess with this, I don't think. So 400 feet. The lure we're using is a spoon. The depth is 150 feet. You can go here and change a lure if you want. I was having more luck with a spinner. So we're going to throw the spinner on there. And then we're done with this screen. So then, now you can see behind the boat there, you're actually pulling your lure. If you use the motor over a school of fish, you scare the fish away. So ideally what you want to do is you want to see where a school of fish is. See, there's a school of fish coming this way. So you stop and you just kind of have the lure in their way, and you hope that you start getting a bite. But if we get a bite, a little picture-in-picture will show up, and yeah. And there are these other boats here, and you can actually crash into the other boats if you're not careful. So you have to be careful to avoid those guys, and you also kind of want to stay away from them anyway because they might be scaring away some of the fish. So yeah, I feel like we should be able to see more schools of fish, and I wonder if it's because of the way the screen is shrunk down. Oh no, there they are. You see all those little down in the corner. You can see the little they look like little swarms of fruit flies or something. Get out of this freaking guy's way. If we could at least get a bite, it would just be kind of cool, so you could just kind of see how that is. Like, I got a lot of bites and lost a lot of fish before I finally caught one. Hey, real quick, Jerry says he has to jet. He's heading out for Salisbury steak. I am very jealous. I haven't had Salisbury steak in quite some time, so... So, like I said, I don't want to spend too much time playing this game just because I don't think it's that exciting to watch, especially compared to the next two games we're going to check out. Oh, Pete says, if you like Sega Bass Fishing, I recommend Konami's Fishman bait games on the PlayStation. So I think I have a fishing controller for the PlayStation. And as you saw, or if you watched the video, I did just get a fishing controller for the Dreamcast. So... So it would be cool. Oh, here we go. All right, see? All right, there we go. All right. So see, you can try to reel him in. You can, when he starts to kind of charge, you can pull back on the on your pole there to try to like tire him out. But you see he's kind of charging away there. So, and then little icons will show up saying that like, oh, he's getting, uh-oh, we got a problem here. He's heading for the bottom. So I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to do. Oh, free the drag, tighten up the drag, pull up the rod. So I'm not really sure what to do. If you do the wrong thing, you can lose the fish. If you free the drag, then you won't lose the line, but you can run out of line. Okay, good job. He stopped. Okay, he looks tired. Good. All right, so see, now we want to reel him in a little bit. So you can see the line. That's really telling you how far away the fish is. So, oh, here we go. All right. Uh-oh. So now we got another problem. He's heading for the bottom again. My goodness. We'll feed the drag again. All right, and he looks tired. Oh yeah, see, he's getting tired. See, he was the fish was wiping his face with a handkerchief. See, so I'm reeling him in. Oh, we got him. Then we got this clown. All right, there we go. We got him. That's pretty good on the first try. All right, good job. We caught one. Now we got to find out how big. I don't think he's going to be that big because he was way too easy to catch. Yeah, 14 pounds. That's not even worth keeping. Better check your depth. So you can adjust the depth. Like, oh, maybe that's not where the king salmon is hanging out. So, or maybe you're not using the right lure. But then, this has like a clock that's running and it's getting later and later in the day. And so I assume that would mean that, the fish are going to bite less and less if it's, going to be realistic. So yeah, anyway, it's a fishing game. So you might be thinking, oh yeah, whatever. But I see like, Josh said, this actually looks fun. It is, like I said, it's fun. It's the kind of game you can just kind of sit there and just drink a beer and just kind of chill out and play. Like I said, I played this game for like an hour because I couldn't catch a fish. I was trying to figure out what to do. I was just playing it on off of the SD card on the Mega SG, so I didn't have the instruction manual, which of course now I have. Although I think I actually found that there's like a FAQ for this game. So, I'm going to go ahead and stop King Salmon now, so that we can really get to the meat of the potato of the stream. Oh wow, $14 from Tommy. Thanks, Tommy. I appreciate that, Tommy. That's the Tommy I talked about him in the last pickups video. He's got the beard trimming game going on. So yeah, thanks, man. All right, so I'm gonna turn the Mega SG back off, and I'm gonna switch the view back because it's gonna be story time again. Okay, and I wish Corey was here, but I didn't mention that. I was hoping to have Corey on the stream tonight, but he's got some big editing job he's working on. And he said he would come on the stream if he finished it, but I guess he didn't finish it. So that's too bad. But he's here in spirit anyway. Okay, so the main game that I've been looking for, I was looking for it at AVGC. And I knew, like, on the plane before I landed in Connecticut, I'm like, this is the main game I'm looking for, was Gyrus. And for those of you for whom maybe that doesn't immediately, you don't know what game I'm talking about, Gyrus was or is the game that has the ads in like EGM and Game Pro with Jamie Bunker, professional gamer. The guy who had sort of like the little 15-year-old mustache and the gold chain and the mullet. Yeah, you may know it as Gyrus or Gairs. It's the proper pronunciation is Gyrus. And so I've been looking for the game. And, I even mentioned it. We all went out to dinner on Friday night, like me and Corey and Mark and Shane and Adam from Re-Res. And there was one guy that was with us who was just like a fan who just wanted to come with us. He ran into us in the lobby and we're like, yeah, come with us. And somebody else might have also been there that I don't remember. I just don't remember. We don't for pizza if it matters. And so Adam was asking me, I guess Adam's like a fan of the show or something, which it's kind of funny. I'm not saying this because I'm trying to act humble or anything. It's just true. Like whenever, I can't say whenever, I've only been to 2 conventions, but when like one of these other YouTube people tells me like, oh man, I really love your show. Like I always assume that they're just like, saying it to be nice, like, okay, yeah, sure. You watch my show. But obviously, this Adam guy really watches my show and is a huge fan. So anyway, he asked me like, "Oh, are there any games you're looking for?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm looking for Gyrus." And he's like, "Oh, how much do you think you're willing to pay for that?" And I'm like, "I don't." I said, "I don't really know. I don't. I'm not exactly positive what the going rate is. If I see a really nice condition copy, I'm buying it. Um, you know, I kind of in my head I figure I think it's about $120 game, and he looked it up on price charting, and it said it was like 145 Canadian, and because he's from Canada, and so what I mean that's about what I was thinking. I think 145 Canadian is more like 110 US. So I had him looking for it. Corey knew I was looking for it, and then Saturday morning, uh, all of the all the other YouTube guys, I don't know what else to call them, like they're all like, yeah, we're gonna get down there, like so the show opened for early birds at 9, and then for everybody else at 10. Early birds just means like you could pay extra as a patron to get in there early if you wanted to scour the place for the games you really wanted. Otherwise, if you just had like a normal ticket, I guess you would get in there at 10. And so all the other YouTube guys were like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna get in there at we're gonna get down there at like 8 or 8:30 so we can go check everything to, grab up anything that they wanted." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I'll do that. That'd be pretty cool." But remember that I'm on West Coast time. This is on the East Coast. So 8 a.m. for me is 5 a.m. And we also went out for pizza, which kind of gives me heartburn. And to be honest, I just I couldn't sleep because I had heartburn. And so I was not getting up and getting down there at 8 o'clock in the morning. I got down there at like 9:30 or something. But Corey texted me and he's like, "Hey, I found you a copy of Gyrus." And he took a picture of it or something. He says, "A really good condition copy and it comes with everything and blah, blah, blah." And so I went over there and it was more than I guess I kind of wanted to pay. But, hold judgment until I finish the whole story because it turns out that I got a really good deal from this guy. So I didn't take the price tags off of anything just so that way, people know I'm not BSing. So here's Gyrus. If you can't read the price tag, it says 145. So it was 145 bucks. And as I already said, I don't really like haggling, and especially haggling when the show has barely opened on Saturday morning is kind of a D-bag thing to do. No matter who you are, in my opinion. Give these guys a chance to get their asking price for something before you start. You want to haggle, you come on Sunday afternoon and you do your haggling. But so here's the thing. So it's Gyrus, and I mean, not only is it complete and in just excellent condition, it actually even still has the poster. Like you got the manual there, but it even has the poster in it, which you don't. So often these games, the poster gets, not lost. It's just, I did the same thing when I was a kid. You would take the poster out and you would hang it on your bedroom wall or whatever. So we got $5 from Pete. Thanks, Pete. Yeah, well, I don't know how awesome I am, but I appreciate you saying it anyway. And then like, the cartridge is in like, pristine condition. And so, like I said, I'm not going to haggle with the guy. So it's like, you're either going to pay 145 or you're going to walk away. And I didn't want to walk away. I found later that somebody else was selling the game for 120, but didn't have the poster and didn't have the hang tab. And you guys know I love hang tabs. So I went ahead and bought. I'm like, well, that's more than I want to pay, but whatever. I knew I wasn't going to end up buying that much stuff at the show, and so I just figured, well, whatever. But then this happened. So as I said before, there was that guy Carlson who had all the Super Famicom and Famicom stuff, and you would see at the show a lot of like import Nintendo stuff. It seems like people who are into Nintendo are more into getting import stuff. Well, of course, if you're into like PC Engine or Saturn, but those are not nearly as popular as Nintendo systems. So there wasn't a lot of import Genesis stuff, like Japanese Mega Drive stuff. But this vendor that had this copy of Gyrus, I was just kind of looking to see, well, is there anything else I want? Because obviously I'm going to have to break out the credit card for $145. Is there anything else here that maybe I want to, add on to my purchase? And what caught my eye was a Japanese Mega Drive game. And These were all sort of facing down, so that the spines were facing up. There was a bunch of Genesis games, and this was just tucked in there with them. And so all I saw was that sticking up. So I had no idea what it was. I'm like, oh, Japanese Mega Drive game. What might that be? And so I pulled it out, and I was just kind of checking it out. I still wasn't really sure what it was. And at least my recollection was that it was Corey who told me. He said, I think that's Fire Shark. So this game is called, this Japanese game, it's called Same Same Same, which I only know that because somebody else told me, hey, that's Same Same Same. And so I saw that. I'm like, oh, yeah. Because you look on the back, and there's no screenshots. It has whatever this monkey business is on the back. And then it just has, this dude like looking over his shoulder. And then, of course, I think the biplane there was kind of the giveaway for Corey, where he's like, oh, I think that's Fire Shark. And it's funny because I didn't even see this, but on the spine is the Toaplan logo, and then it's also here on the front it says Toaplan. But I didn't even see that. I was just looking at the artwork. I'm just like, I don't know what this is. And he's like, well, I think it's Fire Shark. I wasn't sure what it was, and I also wasn't sure how much it cost. So I showed it to the guy, and I said, hey, how much is this? Because I don't know, is that the price? Is that even a 5? Is that an S? What does that even say over there? I don't know what's going on with this sticker. And so I showed it to the guy, and he goes, oh yeah, that's $5. And I was just like, oh, okay. So I got these two games together for $150. And it's funny because to me, I was like, okay, whatever, this is cool. I guess I just figured, okay, I guess this is Fire Shark. I mean, I guess. I still didn't really know. I just wasn't worried about it. I got, here's just, if you want to see the inside, it's the same artwork. And I just like, I bought it, I put it in a pile behind my table, and I just kind of wasn't really thinking about it. But Corey was just like, I think that was a really good deal, man. I think that was a mistake. Like, I don't think that should have been $5. Like, that was like a really good deal. Like he was just like excited for me. Like, I'm not saying he was complaining. He was just like, I think that was like the deal of the convention, I think, man. And I was like, oh, well, whatever. And I think I ended up looking it up and figuring, okay, that is Fire Shark. And, but I didn't even think anything else of it. And it wasn't until I think Corey had like left Connecticut on Monday that I got this text from him with a screenshot from eBay. So here's basically the point of the whole story. So yes, it's Fire Shark, AKA Same Same Same. And the prices on eBay vary from like, for a complete copy, between $60 and $120. Like, I found a completed sale. Somebody paid $120 for this, which I don't understand why, because there were multiple copies available, far cheaper than that. But this is certainly not a $5 game. I have absolutely no reason to think that this is some kind of bootleg. It definitely looks legit. So I don't really know why the guy had it priced at $5. It's not like I was dealing with his employee or something, or it didn't seem that way. It seemed like it was his booth. So I don't really know. But so that was a good deal. So that's why I'm saying, yes, I overpaid for Gyrus, but if the fact that I paid $150 for these two together is definitely a cool deal. So so I thought it would be cool if we played both of these games. And I'm not sure if I've ever played Fire Shark before on a stream. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. I do believe I covered Fire Shark in the Sega Genesis in 1990 video. That's my recollection anyway. So we're gonna fire that one up first. Now, I will warn people, I am not particularly good at either one of these games, but I haven't spent that much time playing Gyrus, yet. I played it a little bit on EverDrives and whatnot, but now that I have it, I guess maybe I'll play it more. I hope. I mean, I don't. Did Gyrus get covered on the show? I don't think so. Was Gyrus a 1990 game? I feel like it was 91. Well, it says copyright 1990. I didn't cover this. This wasn't on the Sega Genesis in 1990 video, was it? I certainly don't think so. Well, I'll talk about Gyrus when we get to that. So for now, let's check out some Same Same Same. So there's no sound until you actually start the game. So I want to make sure that it's loud enough. So one thing I'll say just real quick. Is Fire Shark like a sequel to Sky Shark? That I'm not sure about. Didn't Toaplan make Sky Shark? So it might be. Um, it's the prequel. No, it's not the prequel to Sewer Shark. So just real quick, I just want to mention Toaplan. I know I said this in the video I made, but Toaplan also made Truxton slash Tatsujin. So there's a lot of similarities as far as the way the game plays. Obviously, you're in a biplane, not in space, but the power up system is very similar. There's 3 weapons for you can't really choose from them. It's just like enemies will drop, not enemies, but these blimp looking things here will drop different colored like icons or whatever you want to call them, and that dictates what weapon you have. And there's like a spread gun and a something that looks like this weird like twirling like double helix laser weapon, and then there's like this fire. It looks like a flamethrower. I don't know. And that if you can get the flamethrower and get it like fully powered up, you're practically invincible, which is just sort of the one thing I would say about the game that's maybe like it makes it a little bit too easy. But I mean, it's not like it's so easy that I'm going to beat it or anything. So yeah, and then to power it up, you can see that underneath your score and whatnot, you have a P and 3 empty boxes. So if you pick up 3 like P power up icons, you power up your weapon one time. Then you pick up 3 more and you get another power up. And I forgot, you can power up your weapon at least 3 times, maybe 4 times. And then there's also bombs. So they're not the big pentagram with the skull in it though, like Truxton. Okay, here we go. And someone let me know if that's too loud or too quiet. Certainly in my ears, it sounds pretty good. So, one thing that would be nice with this would be a turbo, a controller with turbo. You can go into the options in this game and turn on turbo, but I don't think it really works that well. And some people think that playing a shooter with turbo is cheating. I don't see like how rapidly hitting the button over and over again is somehow a demonstration of any kind of skill. It's just kind of annoying and tiring. All right, so see, that's a weapon there. If we pick that up, now we have sort of this weird laser thing, which, I mean, maybe, all of these shooters, I think, they're all kind of similar the way this kind of stuff works. So, obviously this is a more focused weapon, so it's more powerful, but you don't get the coverage that you would with, like, the spread gun. But as you power this up, it gets bigger so that it does cover more territory, but certainly nothing like the spread gun. All right, so now we have the flamethrower. So this is like a totally non-powered up flamethrower. So you just have like the one, I don't know what you want to call that, like a stream of flames or something. So it's not that big of a deal. But as you power this one up, it gets just ridiculous. So see, now we have like the 2 streams of fire, which is already pretty good, but it really starts to get kind of ridiculous. And I mean, the main way that I die in this game usually is running into an enemy's bullet, because the bullets in this game, you can see them there. I mean, they do kind of move a little bit on the slow side, and so you might, in your peripheral vision, you might think that it's past you, and really it's not, and so you kind of run into it on the side or something, or somebody shoots you and you didn't see it coming. But overall, I would say that this game is quite a bit easier, at least to me, than Truxton. Although even with Truxton, you can get pretty far in Truxton, I think, before it really gets difficult. So maybe this is just kind of... Oops, he just died. Maybe this one's the same way. These 2 guys are pretty stubborn. But they're kind of like the co-bosses of the level, so... normally I can easily get past the first level without dying, but of course I'm trying to stream and talk and whatnot. And once I get to the end of this level, I'll go ahead and check the chat. place to put that. There we go. And that little sound was we got an extra life, so that's kind of cool. I'm going to go drop a bomb on this dude. There we go. All right. So, and that's kind of another interesting thing about this game is so now we just beat, like, sort of, like I said, the co-bosses. But, you know, guys will still kind of show up afterwards. And then between each level, we're going to land on this little airstrip. And I don't really know what the point of that even is, but, so yeah. Yeah, Pete, I pretty says I love how Chris thinks his live stream won't be any good, but his followers have a good time. Well, I don't know. I guess I like to keep expectations low, in general, in life and on YouTube. So I'm just going to pause this real quick so I can make sure I didn't miss anything. Yeah, of course, if there's a turbo button in the arcades, I 100% would have used it. Use your rainbow circle shot. I don't know what you mean by that. Sorry. How long does it take you to write YouTube videos? It takes a really long time because it's a lot of research. Josh wants an HD remaster, double pack of Giggling 2. I could get behind that. Brian is taking off and going to bed. Brian's on the East Coast, so I don't blame you because it's pretty late there. It was awesome hanging out with you too, man. And I hope I get to come to the East Coast again and see you again. Oh, all right. Sorry, Josh. I get it. Hey, what's up, Morpheus? Yeah, undersell and overdeliver. It's like the Scotty from Star Trek, right? That's what he always did. So that's what I always do. And like I said, I do it on my show, I think, but I really do kind of feel that way, you know, like I think some people just kind of have that issue where, you know, it's like I don't really think I'm that smart, or I don't think I'm that good at my job. You know, they call it like pretender syndrome or something. It's where you think that you've managed to, you know, BS people enough that they think that you're better at something than you actually are. So I mean, it's I guess it kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier about how, you know, I was meeting people at these conventions, you know, who were telling me that they watched my show, and I'm like, you don't watch my show. I don't know. I think in general, I think most of us are a lot more insecure than we try to make, you know, we try to present ourselves as being a lot more secure than we actually are. Which is kind of funny. I tried to talk to my wife about that a little bit the other day, and it's like, she totally wasn't getting what I was trying to say. I mean, I don't know. I was going to say this in an episode of Flashback, but I don't even know where I would fit it in, so I'm just going to say it right now instead. Like, not, you know, so what, today's like, what, October 2nd? I still haven't gotten my car back. And so, like, I had to drive, like, a crappy rental car for a while, or I'm having to, like, you know, take Uber, or, like, my wife's out of town right now, so I can kind of use her car. But other than that, like, I don't have my car. And I was trying to explain to my wife about how, you know, something I kind of learned about myself, and I guess in some ways I already knew this about myself, is that, like, that car means a lot more to me than I think it should, or I wish it did. Just because, you know, I spent a whole life being sort of a have-not and not I would get made fun of in school because I didn't have the cool clothes, or, you know, in high school I didn't have a car at all. I mean, I didn't have a car at all for a really long time. And so, like, the fact that I have a cool car now, maybe, I'm not going to say defines me as a person, but it means a lot more to me. It's no different than, like, wearing nice clothes. You know, like, I didn't ever get to have nice clothes growing up, and even for a long time. I mean, I didn't really have a good job when I got out of college, and so I couldn't afford things like nice clothes. You know, I was wearing, you know, just whatever kind of basic jeans I could find, and I was wearing, like, plain t-shirts from, you know, Target or Walmart or whatever. But so, like, I don't know, I don't even know what my point is, but, you know, so, like, having that car is, like, you know, it means a lot to me to have that car. Because when I'm driving around in that car, it's just like, you know, you almost kind of feel like invincible or something. It's no different than wearing the clothes that, like, I think are cool. I'm not saying that other people will think they're cool. Like, you know, I have my, like, motor racing sweaters and stuff like that. And it's just like, when I'm wearing that, like, I feel like I look cool, even though probably other people don't even know what that is. Oh, we just beat that. Was the level 2 boss. Sorry, I didn't even say. And so, like, you know, not having my car is just one thing that just makes me kind of feel, Like, I mean, some of you guys know what I'm talking about, right? Like when you were in like high school or something, like Ryan just mentioned, uh, Air Jordans, right? Like if I had had like Air Jordans, like if somehow I had lucked into a pair of Air Jordans when I was in like junior high or high school, like I would have felt cool getting to walk around wearing those. And I totally get that, like as a 42-year-old man, like that kind of stuff shouldn't matter anymore to me, but I think something I've said over and over again, especially on Flashback, is that I really believe that your experiences, you know, when you're maybe between the ages of like 10 and 20, can really define, you know, who you are as a person later in life. And so it's like, I still have a lot of these insecurities that I think were kind of caused by my experiences at that age. And so even though I shouldn't care what kind of car I drive or what kind of clothes I wear, you know, I do care, you know. And it's funny because I tried to explain that to my wife, and, you know, she's like, well, you shouldn't care what people think. And I'm like, yeah, I know that. Like, that's my whole point, is that's what I'm trying to tell you. But, you know, I think obviously my wife is not somebody who grew up maybe getting, you know, ostracized by the cool kids as much as I did. So this is kind of a getting back to the game, that's enough sort of introspection. Another way that I can often die in this game is, you know, you end up with the weapon that you want, right? Which for me is like the fire weapon, right? And then these other, you know, weapon icons get dropped, and then you're like, well, I don't want that because I want the fire weapon. And so you'll end up trying to dodge the other ones, and you'll often get into trouble because now you're moving around the screen in ways that you shouldn't be moving around because you're trying to avoid those power-ups. And I've kind of just found that you just kind of have to accept it. Like, okay, you're not going to have the fire weapon for a while. You're going to have the spread gun because it's way too easy for you to die trying to dodge those things. So sorry, I'll check that. Let me beat whatever this boss is coming up, and then I'll check the chat. Oh yeah, Smoke Monster's talking about his pumps. Yeah, so Smoke Monster was wearing a sick pair of pumps in New Jersey, and it was funny. I was telling him, so I did have a pair of Reebok pumps when I was in high school. I don't know how many of you guys will remember this, but you know, when Reebok pumps first came out, they were super expensive, and then not too long after, they started making pumps that kind of weren't, like, you could tell they weren't like the same color as like the cool ones or whatever. Like, they were kind of like pumps for kids like me that couldn't afford the cool ones. And so like that's when I had pumps. And then I remember later Nike came out with pumps. I never had any of those, so I had to wear a lot of pretty ugly clothes when I was that age, just because it was what we could afford. So, and that was the only point that I was ever trying to make, is I just feel like for so long I was sort of defined in the eyes of so many people by what I couldn't afford, that now it's just like I kind of can't shake, I guess, having sort of that insecurity a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to pause it right now. I'm just going to scroll up a little bit. I don't want to spend too much time looking at the chat. All right, well, I can see some people. Some people are picking up when I'm laying down, so I appreciate that. And Pete says the first time you get back on your ride, you'll be very happy. I mean, I agree. It's just like I said, it's October. I haven't seen my car since July, and I probably wouldn't feel so bad if I had a car. I've got my Volkswagen, but there's just something still wrong with it. So, are you gonna get more after launch vid of the N64 and other systems you made vid? If you're asking if I'm going to make like the follow-up episodes, like, you know, whatever console and whatever year, yes. If that's not what you're asking, then sorry, I guess I'm not sure what you're trying to ask. LA gear, yeah, I never had to wear LA gear, or I never had to wear like Pro Wings from Payless Shoe Source. Thankfully, I always had decent shoes because my grandma bought me my shoes. Like, she had a limit. Like, I couldn't have something like Jordans, but for the most part, I had cool shoes. Do you have a favorite NBA team? If you're talking to me, I mean, I guess the Sacramento Kings. I'm not super into basketball, but I would like to get more into basketball. I don't really understand basketball that much, aside from just the basic rules. Um, okay, that was the question. Yeah, good. Okay, yeah. I mean, I want to keep making those for sure, but like for now, I want to make the launch of the NES. Like to make the launch of the Game Boy. And at some point, I'll get around to making some more of those, console X in year Y videos. All right. But I mean, you can see how long I've been playing this game, and like I said, I'm not really that great at it. I think this is once you kind of figure it out, this is a pretty forgiving game. So, and hopefully this looks okay to you guys. This is one of those weapons where if you're watching this at 30, like I don't know if you're watching it on some kind of device, like maybe a phone or something, and maybe you can only see it at 30 frames per second instead of 60. This weapon looks really weird because you're only going to see half of it. And remember, this area can get kind of hairy because you get these. Oh yeah, here you go. See, that's 3 power-ups, and so now you have these weird side bits that are just kind of going back and forth on their own, which is actually very helpful for this level. Because what you're going to get is planes coming in and flying along the bottom of the screen. So you don't want to hang out back here like this, or you're going to get killed. And say, I really don't want that green thing, so I'm going to try to avoid it, but I'm not going to... All right, we just got it, so never mind. I was going to say I'm not going to take evasive maneuvers. So I really didn't want that for right here, because it's nice having the side protection of the fire thingy. Oh, damn it. Yeah, I just want to say quickly, this Gene, sorry, I don't know how to say your name, that you appreciate the fact that like having a nice car. I mean, when you have to pay for your own stuff, you appreciate it more, It's funny because I just saw yesterday and today I guess there's some new undergrad on campus who has a really nice Ferrari. So now I'm seeing, okay, Jinx. I saw it, like I said, I saw it yesterday in the parking lot. I saw it today in a different parking lot. This really nice Ferrari that I'm sure, it's just it's funny because I don't work at a university where normally you would see that kind of thing, but, whatever. And all I could think was like, that kid doesn't appreciate that because he didn't work for it. So, I talk a lot about, how I didn't grow up having a lot of stuff, or, I mean, I had a decent amount of stuff. I'm not trying to, plead poverty or anything, but the fact that, I have nice things now that I worked for, they mean a lot more to me that way. So, would you consider doing a con in Ohio? Definitely. I've been to Ohio a few times. I like it there. I'd go back anytime. I mean, there's certainly, I can't think of like anywhere I wouldn't go just because of oh, Jesus. That's what I'm talking about. See, they get behind you. I can't think of anywhere I would say no just because I don't want to go there. I mean, maybe I wouldn't be super excited about going to like Phoenix in the middle of the summer because I've been there in the middle of the summer and it's horrible. But even still, I would get to go to Bookman's Bookman's, right? So I think for now, I probably wouldn't want to go to any more cons right now just because, like I said, I'm not saying this as I'm trying to complain or anything, but it's just like, these cons help you out as far as costs go. Maybe give you a travel stipend or, both of them covered my hotel room. But, there's no denying that they both cost me a lot of money. Well, not me, but, they both took a lot of money out of the show budget. And, oh, I saw that coming. And so, I mean, I can't afford to go to too many of them. Just because I have other things that I would like to do, with the show money. Hey Shane, what's up, man? Looking sharp. Oh, yeah, this is a new shirt, so thanks. See, this is just not the weapon that I really want to have here. Having the spread weapon completely not powered up is really not that great. But as is the case with a lot of shooters, when you were powered up and then you get killed and now you're not, it can be difficult. Well, there we go. Now we got one power up, so that definitely helps. And I don't remember if this is like, if we're now in sort of a boss situation or if this is just like some dude. I mean, certainly this guy's taking a lot of hits, so I would hope he's a boss. Oh, there we go. I mean, that seemed very boss-like. Well, I just don't remember. Alright, seems like it. I'm flying into an airfield. What's going on? David Green says, what's your favorite beer? I mean, I don't really have a single favorite beer. I mean, you know, I think I've said this before, but, you know, I'm not a beer snob. This is Miller Lite. So, but I really like German beer, so I have a lot of German beers in my fridge right now just because it's that time of year. Like I've got some Oktoberfest beer, and I've got like some Hacker Shore Lager. As far as just like cheap beer goes, I like Miller Lite. I like Rolling Rock. Guinness, you know, Guinness isn't too expensive when Costco has it. I like that one a lot. A lot of people seems like they avoid Guinness because based on the color, they think that it's going to be like, you know, sort of, you know, maybe strongly flavored or maybe strong as far as the alcohol goes. And I think Guinness is pretty mild, and I like it a lot. So, and I saw Castlemania asked if I have a Stein. I don't think I have a beer Stein. I have more of like the German style beer glasses. But I don't think I had. I think I had a Stein, like I had a Stein, but I got rid of it. You know, that's, oh jeez. Like a beer Stein, is it game over? I think it's game over. Yeah, all right, it's game over. Beer Steins are good if you want to drink like a whole liter of beer. Yeah, Spaten Optimator. Yeah, I like that one's pretty good. Did I ever go to any of my high school reunions? No. You know, I've been contacted about it. Just, you know, I think this last time around there was a Facebook group for it. I just have absolutely zero interest. There's really nobody. There's really nobody from high school that I really care to see. I'm not friends anymore with anybody I was friends with in high school. I think the people that I were friends with in high school, for the most part, are not the kinds of people who would go. Because it was the other gaming nerds. I mean, you know, it's funny. I talked about this a little bit in, you know, I did a panel on Sunday. That was just like a Q&A session. And somebody asked me a question about sports games, but they were asking more about like, you know, why old sports games aren't popular. And the answer that I gave was that, you know, the types of people, and I'm making, this is like broad generalization, but the kinds of people that play sports games are more of, you know, the person that was really into sports games back in the 90s is the same guy that's still into sports games now. Like your Madden / Call of Duty style, or not style, type of gamer. And, you know, I knew kids that were into sports games back then, and those weren't like the gaming nerds. You know, like I was one of the gaming nerds. Like we were playing all this kind of stuff or playing role-playing games and stuff like that. And, you know, I think that we are the ones, you know, the types of people that, you know, were like ostracized for playing video games and did it anyway because we loved them. Like we're the kinds of people that get more nostalgic about old games, and we're not the ones that were really playing sports games back then. And then the other group of people you have who are into retro gaming now are the people who weren't even born yet then, or were young back then. And so obviously they're not going to want to go back and play old sports games. And so for that reason, there's just not really an audience for like content about old sports games. I mean, I look at like my history of NHL 94 video, and it's got like 50,000 views, I think, something like that. And that video is several years old. And it just goes to show that it's just not that popular of a topic. So, what was my point? I don't know. Why did I even tell that story? I don't know. I don't remember. Was it because somebody asked me a question? I don't know. Somebody tell me what my point was because I don't remember. All right. We got Gyrus going on now. So I was able to hang in there for a while with Fire Shark / Same, but Gyrus is tough. But I'm going to tell you this. We're going to play some Gyrus. And if I get game over, we're going to start again. So I'm not ready to just throw in the towel on this one after a single playthrough. Because I was just talking about being a video game nerd back then, and I think that in general, those of us who are video game nerds, now you can play video games and it's like not. I don't think it's that uncool. Although, kind of to go back to what I was saying before, it's like I don't really tell people that I. Why is this not working? Oh, here we go. I don't tell like people at work that I play video games because to me it's like, well, that's still like not a cool thing to do, even though that's like not true. It's funny because I feel like there are so many people that I work with where if they knew I had I'm not paying attention. If they knew I had a YouTube channel, they would probably think it was cool. But to me, it's like, I don't think that it's cool, I guess. Or I don't think that it makes me cool. Let me put it that way. I think my YouTube channel is awesome, but I don't see how that makes me cool. But the thing is, I work with all these people who are way younger than me, and it's a different generation where if they knew that I had a semi-popular YouTube channel, they would probably think that was cool. All right. So I reset the game because I died right away. This is a shooter that actually uses all three buttons. This is I'm using the 8-bit do or 8-bit do wireless controller, which I made sure to charge up before the stream, by the way. It uses all three buttons on a 3-button controller, which is kind of not that common, I think, for shooters. Obviously, one button shoots your main weapon. A second button adjusts your speed. You have like low, medium, and high. I think it says low, mid, and max. And then a third button, you have this little like sort of option dude that's following you around. You can actually shoot that guy like out, and it attaches to enemies and kind of like steals their weapon and makes it yours. And so you start off with this your normal weapon, but even just these first waves of enemies that come in who kind of are very reminiscent of the enemies from like Gradius, you can steal their weapon and it just kind of powers up your pea shooter. And with most enemies, you can steal their weapon 3 times, and it will power up, like incrementally power up the weapon 3 times. So I like to leave the speed on mid, so I'm just gonna do that. And I think that's the A button that adjusts the speed. The B button is for shooting, but you see you have the one shot, and then so does your little pea shooter dude. But see now I'm doing like a whole triple shot thing, and I think that's as far as you can power that one up. So, although I think you can also shoot these guys, yeah, and so now you get, well, I guess you don't get something different. Maybe it was these guys you can shoot. Some enemies you'll get something by stealing their weapons, and other enemies you don't. So, but yeah, I think you need to steal from these guys real quick. I need one more. Yeah, so now you have kind of this whole spread gun thing. And it seems like there's also maybe something to do with like how you progress through the weapons. I'm not really positive about that, but it seems like part of what your weapon turns into is based on what your weapon was before. But I'm not positive about that. Let me just check the chat real fast. Jinx says you prefer retro because there's far more variety. I mean, that's how I feel. I guess if you get more into like the indie games and stuff, then I guess maybe there's still a lot of variety. I don't know. I don't like to bag on modern gaming because I don't want to seem like I'm like gatekeeping or being like a snob or something. I just for some reason I just can't get into playing modern games. I don't really know why, but I think part of it is that there's no nostalgic attachment though. And even though, like, I mean, I never played Gyrus, for instance, back then, but, I had a Genesis back then. And so being able to play Genesis games that I didn't have back then is cool. Get away from me. All right. Like I said, I warned you, I'm not good at this game. I haven't played this game enough yet. I need to play it I need to spend more time with it, but that's kind of what we're doing right now. So there we go. So I think I got this weapon's like totally maxed out, so I don't need to keep trying to steal the weapons off of these weird space turtle things. Oh, I didn't realize you can just hold down the... Oh, are you kidding me? You can just hold down the fire button. Did it start me off all the way back at the beginning? Yep. In a way, that's kind of good, though, because then you can power your weapon back up, which otherwise you would not be able to do. That's still kind of brutal, though. And yeah, like I said, you can hold down the fire button, and you have automatic turbo, which is nice. I was not doing that, so that should make it a little bit easier. What's up, T.I.? I know I don't pronounce your name correctly, so I'm not going to try. Oh, damn it. Oh, I see. If you have it all powered up all the way, you don't have to keep doing it, so that helps. Sorry, I keep wanting to look over at the chat, but I'm going to get into trouble. Hold on, I need a drink. Does this game have music? Yeah, can you not hear the music? Hold on, right now it doesn't have music, but it will again in a second. Oh my god. See, and then we have to steal this guy's weapon. But you have to wait until he assembles. There we go. And then if you keep stealing this, you get like this big, fat... See, it gets bigger. And then if you do it one more time, see, now you have this big thing. So that's cool. All right, so that was... I mean, that was pretty easy. Obviously, it took me a while to do it, but you can see where it wouldn't be too bad. Yeah, if the volume's a little bit low, I can definitely turn it up. Let me see. All right, someone tell me that's definitely louder in my ear. So someone tell me if that sounds better. So now I just picked up a little shield, so that's helpful. If that's too loud now, someone tell me that too. But this shield is helpful. You know, it's kind of like the shield in Gradius or the Darius games where you can take multiple hits. So, which is kind of funny because it's like a big difference from going from one-hit deaths to now all of a sudden you can take like several hits before you die. You can steal these guys' weapon, but I don't really care for it that much. It's like a really thin laser, which, I mean, it's probably super powerful, but... I don't think I've actually ever beaten this level before. Again, I haven't played this game that much yet, but... I have a real tendency, like, if I die too much, I shut the game off or I start over. Like, I don't often play until I get fully game overed. Oh, see, so the screen just flashed because I took a hit. So it's kind of telling you that your shield just took a single hit, so which isn't that huge of a deal. We just took another hit. So you see now the shield is like red instead of white because it got depleted a little bit. And we got a boss battle coming up here. I'm just checking the chat before. Gives me a little breather before I fight the boss. Yeah, I can't remember if I disabled the 3dB cut or not. I think I think I have this Mega SG like set up just based on Firebrand X's recommendations. So unless he said to disable the cut, I seriously doubt that I did. Oh yeah, this guy. Maybe I have beat this level, and this guy, I don't remember this guy being all that hard. Although, let's see if I can beat him before I start talking smack. Oh, no. Oh, crud! So that guy shouldn't be that hard to kill. And then now, it seems like now in this level, it doesn't start you off at the beginning. Although, I mean, is this actually a different level, or is it still the same level? I think it's this level 2, right? So now, oh, goodness. Things are getting pear-shaped. So now I have to beat this boss with just, like, my regular pea shooter. So, which is funny, because it shouldn't be that difficult, because this boss does not have, like, difficult patterns. But when he releases those things, they just come out, like, really fast. But, like, other than that, like, this boss isn't really doing anything. Oh, I thought I could angle in there. All right. Well, we're gonna go again. So you get. Oh, okay. I thought you got 9 continues. You get 4 continues. That's still pretty good. Oh, cool. It starts you off in the same spot too. Well, that's good. What's up, Michael Ross? Unless I'm mistaken, this game does not have any kind of, like, super weapon. Like a bomb, which is kind of unusual for a shooter, but I always freak out when those flamey things come at me. But although he shoots them, he or she, you know, shoots them all in the same place. So it's like once you, oh, damn it. Once you get in the spot, you can just stay there. Oh, steal his weapon. Yeah, duh. Sorry, I just didn't even think about doing that. Oh, dang it. That doesn't seem like it did anything when I stole its weapon. Yeah, you can't. I keep dying. Well, where are you supposed to shoot him? It didn't connect, but maybe that's because you can't steal its weapon. I mean, are you guessing I should steal its weapon, or you know? Finally. Yeah, I mean, I agree. You would think, okay, so that was just the first. So that was like a mid-level boss that we fought first, and that was the final boss. So that's so I'd never finished the first level of this game before, so that's even more embarrassing. Yeah, that could be true. You might be right. Maybe we're supposed to shoot him in the hands. Oh, that's nice. All right, so we stole that weapon, so now we can upgrade our... Well, are there more coming, or... Oh, yeah, we go. All right, that helps. Sorry, I'm getting kind of tired, so that's not helping. It's weird. I wasn't gone that long, and I tried to kind of keep my sleep schedule so that I wouldn't... I turned up the speed a little bit. I felt like I was going a little bit too slow. What happened? I feel like I'm kind of suffering from a little bit of jet lag. Or maybe that's just my excuse for poor gameplay. Oh, wow, now you have like... Oh, are you kidding me? Now you have like homing things. Oh, dang it. We'll get there. We'll get there. Oh, or maybe not. So I'm trying to steal weapons here. Are you kidding me? Sorry, I'm just getting too tired, I guess. There we go. Things just move so fast. Would have been nice if I had more of a chance to practice this game before the stream, you know? Anybody want to play anything else? I'm gonna put one more credit in, but if some, I got the Mega SG here, so we can play anything. I'd be down to play like one more game. But at this point, I've been streaming for almost 2 hours, so I kind of don't want to go too much longer. But as I say, I'd be down for one more. One game that I don't know why I didn't buy it. I saw it at the show. I don't remember how much it was. Maybe it was just more than I wanted to pay or something. But they had Hellfire, which, I talked about. Get out of here. In the Sega Genesis in 1990 episode. Are you kidding me? No, I'm not playing Beavis and Butthead. But yeah, I can imagine that being a pretty expensive game, so maybe that's why I skipped it or something. I think, plus a lot of vendors had like all their good games behind, like in a glass case or something, which is understandable. But, generally speaking, if it's in glass, like I don't like wasting people's time. Like if I'm not going to buy it or something, like unless I'm really serious about buying something. You see, it's like they still shoot at you while they're exploding. That seems kind of cheap. Maybe it's like a little death move or something. It was a good weapon, though. My God, what is that thing? It's pretty cool graphics right there. God. Oh, yeah. All right, cool. We got a shield. That's helpful. And we already got hit once. know I should be trying to steal weapons, but at the same time, I feel like having anything homing is good, and so I don't know what I'm going to get that's better. And look at the you can see the reflections in the water back there, of the like glacier things. Like, this looks really cool. And the music's not bad. Mike's wife says to play Cool Spot. That's funny because I saw Cool Spot at the Expo and was talking to... I forgot who I was walking around with when I saw that, but we were talking about that game. Because I was saying it's kind of funny how it's like it's just like this licensed game, you know, based on a soft drink, and yet it's a pretty good game. Sorry, I'm itchy. Have you tried Ultra Core, the built-in Mega SG game? I know I've tried it a little bit, but maybe not a lot. Can you play Streets of Rage in Tate mode? I don't think so. Yeah. Okay. Oh, I see. Oh, crap. We're going to die right here. That's kind of cheap. Bald guy. All right. Morpheus is going to please play Whip Rush. Yeah, I can play some Whip Rush. I haven't played that game in I haven't played that game in a long time, so I don't know how good I'm going to be at it, but I'll fire it up. Really? All right, that's enough of that. There it is. Have I covered this game on the show or not? Yeah, Mandarin Orange Slice, the video game. I'd play that. Oh yeah, I remember this game. It's funny, you can tell I'm getting old. I cover games in the show and then I can't even remember what they are. Wasn't this game like super hard? You sure that's not loud? In my ears, that sounds pretty loud. Ooh, I don't like that weapon. Look at that parallax scrolling, baby. This weapon seriously sucks. It's one of these weapons where it's like it just shoots in the opposite direction of wherever you were moving. Oh, I'm glad that's over. No, yeah, Morpheus, sure. I definitely never played it on a stream. Oh, not again? I mean, is this a game you had growing up or something, Morpheus? Or I'm just curious what made you What made you ask for this one? Where you go? Oh, suck. You know what weapon I would like right now? Any one but this one. Oh, here we go. Oh. Oh, wow. This was the first Sega Genesis game he purchased with his own money. That's pretty cool. Oh. You always remember stuff like that. Sorry, I died because I was looking at the chat. This game doesn't look like much, but it's pretty fun. Oh, you suck. I don't remember what I said about it. What I said about it on the show, but it's really not bad. There we go, missiles. Oh, look at that. That's much better. Now we should try to not die. Oh, man. That's exactly what I was trying to not do. Try to get one more missile power up. There's a good spot to be able to shoot both ways. Just die already. See, now we're kind of in business. So you shouldn't hang out at the bottom of the screen in this area, though. You really can't get anywhere near those things. Oh. Damn it. All right. Well, I think I might just call it a night. But thanks for suggesting that, Morpheus. That was cool. I kind of forgot about that game. Yeah, so I don't know. I'll check the chat here again. Yes, of course Smoke Monster noticed the lake was parallax scrolling. That's the kind of thing that Smoke Monster notices. Oh, sorry. Rick says, are you good in Street Fighter? I would not describe myself as good. Like, I'm not awful, but I'm not great. All right. We'll see you later, Rick. Thanks for stopping by. And, yeah, no problem, Hot Sauce. I mean, it's fun for me too, you know. It's not like I'm doing anybody a favor. So yeah. So anyway, I don't know. I guess that's about it. Do you think it's too difficult? No, it's just, as is the case with most shooters, there's some memorization involved. So, which is fine. It's just, you know, that's how it is. So, yeah, I mean, I think I remember enjoying playing that game, when I recorded the footage for the show. Like I said, I don't remember, what I said about it on the show. There was like, you know, it was like 6 or 7 shooters back to back. So I didn't spend too much time talking about any of them, I don't think. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know when the next time I'm going to stream is. Hopefully not too long. As I said, I'm working on editing up that magazine read through that I did with Corey. So I want to get that done. Unfortunately, I'm going to have a lot of gameplay footage I have to record for that, so it's going to take a while. And I mean, today's Wednesday, but my wife's coming home tomorrow night, and I haven't seen her in like a week, so I'm probably going to spend some time with her. So the earliest that magazine read-through video would be out would be sometime next week, and I'm not even promising it'll be out then. As far as the NES launch video goes, like, we're way too far out from that I could give you any kind of estimate of when that will be done. I mean, originally my idea was to be able to upload that on Thanksgiving weekend, but I haven't had enough of a chance to work on it. I don't see that coming out anytime soon. I did also start working on a shorter video that was going to be, or is going to be, the history of Mortal Kombat, just the first Mortal Kombat. That doesn't mean that video is actually going to come out. I mean, sometimes I start videos and don't finish them, but I would like to do it just because I'm very curious to see how a video like that would perform, like a shorter 10 to 15 minute video just focusing on the history of like one game, like something like the history of NHL 94, but actually a video game that more people are into. So I kind of do want to get that video finished just because I'm curious to see how it will do, because that would kind of suggest another kind of content that I would be able to make for the main channel. So, but I also have, I actually have multiple videos that are going to be coming out on this channel. First will be the next episode of Flashback. That's kind of my biggest priority now, is to get the next episode of Flashback done. And then I have sort of like a, so for anybody that follows the show on Twitter, I mentioned a couple weeks ago that I bought sort of a off the wall bit of electronic equipment. And I bought it because I wanted it, but I also bought it because I wanted to do an episode about it. But because of what, I don't want to spoil the surprise of what it is, but I'll just say that because of what it is, the best time for it to come out would be after the next Flashback, because they're loosely related. And then I actually was going to put up an episode. I mean, you guys can tell me what you think about this, but I get a lot of questions on the magazine read-throughs about how to store your magazines. And it just so happened that I had to order some new magazine bags. And I ordered I ordered a couple of different ones. And then I have a couple of other different ones. And so I was going to do a video just about like how to store your magazines, but really the whole point of it was going to be to compare the different kinds of magazine bags you can get. But that's not really the kind of content that would go up on the main channel. So I was going to put it up here. I'll probably end up making that. And if nobody watches it, then that's okay. But I think it might be informative for some people. I do want to talk real quick about what Ernie says there. So, because another thing, I sell, all this. Well, I don't have all, I have like the stickers, and I don't really have any coasters left because I sold a lot of those at the show. But, I have all this Classic Gaming Quarterly swag or swag, whichever. And, it doesn't really sell that well. And I'm not saying that because I'm trying to get somebody to buy it. But, I mentioned to my wife the other day that, like, I don't really know why I do that stuff. Like, I guess I do it because it's like what you're supposed to do, but like, it's not like it really makes that much money. And the amount of time it takes me to like design that stuff and order that stuff and then to fill the orders for that stuff is just, it's time I could be spending working on episodes of the show. So, I don't really see myself continuing to keep that kind of stuff in stock once it sells out. But then, so to get directly to what Ernie's saying there about the Blu-rays, it's just another example of where I personally don't think that they would sell that well. And that's just, people will say, oh, you're just, based on how well other stuff sells and based on like how many people I have coming to when I do panel discussions, I just, and I did have the t-shirts, and I only had 50 t-shirts, and it took forever to sell them. It's just like, I'm not a YouTube personality, or at least in my opinion, and that's what you have to be to sell that kind of stuff. And so, yes, it would be cool to have something like Blu-rays of the show, but it would be time consuming to author a Blu-ray, and then I'd have to put up quite a bit of money to have a bunch of them made. And my fear is that I wouldn't make my money back on it, and then I would have boxes full of Blu-rays around my house. So if I ever got to that point, it would have to be some kind of Kickstarter or something. I just can't afford to put up, $2,000 or something to have a bunch of Blu-rays pressed. So yeah, I mean, all the videos are up on YouTube for you guys to watch. So I know it's probably cool for some of you to have like a physical copy, and I totally get that. But it's it's not the kind of thing. It's the kind of thing where the more of them you buy, the cheaper they get. And if I tried to like make a Blu-ray and make like 50 copies of it, they would just be like hellaciously expensive. So as cool as it sounds to do in theory, I don't really see it in the cards, at least anytime soon, to make something like that. But yeah, like Skip and Tosh says, maybe if I kickstarted it, I don't know. I felt like now I've done all of the Sega systems, so I could see doing a Sega like 2-disc Blu-ray set, or Corey had the idea of just doing all the 16-bit systems. So I've done all those. I don't really like the TurboGrafx 16 episode very much, but yeah, again, like I said, I'm not sure how well something like that would sell, and the time it would take me to make Blu-rays, as far as authoring the Blu-rays and putting in additional content, I could spend that time making a whole other launch video. So yeah, I'm just being honest. But yeah, all right. So yep. So that's it for that. At some point, supposedly, I was gonna have all the flashback episodes in podcast form, but I'm not really sure what's going on with that. Somebody who is a viewer of the show is helping me, I guess. Like, I gave him the video files for all the flashback episodes quite some time ago, and I don't have the audio file. I don't know what exactly he was going to do. He was going to somehow, I mean, obviously I could just rip the audio out myself. I think he was going to try to sort of clean things up and adjust things, but I'm sure that he's busy. It's not like I'm paying him, so it's like I don't feel like I can like start bothering him, because like he was trying to help me out for free. But now I feel like if I say, okay, well, that's not going to happen, so I'm just going to rip the audio and upload them. Like, if he's been putting all this work into doing that, and then I just say, oh, I don't need it anymore, then that's kind of a D-bag move for me. But I would like to do that, just because sometimes I get ideas of like podcast episodes that I could make. I mean, ideally, I would think that I could upload all of the flashback episodes, like subsequent flashback episodes, also in podcast form, and then I could make some like podcast only episodes. But that's all kind of on hold right now, just because I just haven't heard back from this guy, and I guess I could I can ping him about it again, but I just don't like to bother people. Yeah, I mean, it should only take a day if all you're doing is ripping the audio. Like I said, I think this guy is some sort of like audio engineer or something, and so he's doing more than just that. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I should just send him a message and tell him that if he's not going to do it or doesn't have time, that I'm going to go ahead and do it without him. So yeah, you're right. I mean, physical is the uncompressed video, and I guess I have semi-uncompressed videos. Like the master files I have of my videos are, I'm sure, better quality than the YouTube versions, but I mean, they are still compressed. But I mean, like a 1 hour video is probably about 10 gigabytes. So I mean, it is not too terribly compressed, I guess, but it's not as, I could have, I think, exported those videos in better quality than I did, but not much. But yeah, QE, that's why I wanted to do it, as I know a lot of people they consume the flashback episodes by listening to them through the YouTube app on their phone. But yeah, because I've had the same problem happen. It's like you want to start the video and then hit the lock button on your phone so that you aren't wasting battery by having the screen on. But then of course the YouTube app shuts the video off, which is annoying. And I know that maybe I don't know how big the podcast audience would be, but I kind of just don't really care. Like I just think it would be cool to have that out there for people. And then, like I said, I think that I believe that if I started doing that, I think I would start also making podcast episodes that would just only be on the podcast, especially like stuff that I can't really put up on YouTube without without worrying about getting a copyright claim. Like if I wanted to talk about music or I wanted to talk about TV shows and be able to have clips of the show running, like I'd rather at least have it running in audio form and not have to worry about like ducking the audio so that people can't or so that I can't get a copyright claim or whatever. So I think it would just be an exciting new thing for me to do, to start making the occasional podcast episode. So it's something that I'll I guess look into. But that's another example of, I think my time is better spent doing that versus trying to mess around with Blu-rays. At least for now, I maybe at some point in the future, maybe the Blu-ray thing will happen, but who knows? All right, so that's going to be it for tonight's live stream. Thank you so much to all you guys that hung out. I see that some of you guys actually hung out for the entire 2.5 hours, so that's pretty awesome. So thanks for that. Thanks for all the super chat contributions from everybody. It's much appreciated. I mean, it helps pay for games for the show, which I understand. Those games then go into my collection, but it also helps kind of keep the lights on. I did just buy, in fact, a new video light, and things like Patreon and super chat contributions pay for that stuff. So thank you. So that's going to be it then for tonight. Again, I don't know when I'll be streaming next, but hopefully it won't be too long. So all of you guys have a good night, and I will see you next time.